ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिने नमः। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वंशाकृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण। We are continuing reading from the introduction. So we were yesterday discussing about metal nature, Jiva and Supreme Lord, Ishvara, Jiva and Prakriti we were seeing. So Prabhupada explaining about how others are not Bhagavan, only the Supreme Lord is Bhagavan. We are all controlled, so we cannot be Bhagavan. So we'll continue from there. Yeah, here in this paragraph. Metal nature itself is constituted by three qualities: mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. About these modes, there is eternal time, and by a combination of these modes of nature and under the control of the purview of the eternal time, there are activities which are called karma. These activities are being carried out from time immemorial, and we are suffering and enjoying the fruits of our activities. For instance, suppose I am a businessman and I have worked very hard with intelligence and I have amassed a great bank balance. Then I am an enjoyer, but then say I have lost all my money in business. Then I am a sufferer. Similarly, in every field of life, we enjoy the results of our work or we suffer the results. This is karma. So Prabhupada is explaining about karma in this paragraph. So, above the three modes of mental nature, there is a combination of modes of mental nature under the purview of eternal time of the activities. It's called karma. So, under the purview of eternal time, this karma is there. So, as I was mentioning previously, this karma is temporary. Other four are permanent actually. So, can anybody read ahead? Sunan Prabhu, can you please read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Ishvara, the Supreme Personality, the Supreme Lord, Jiva, the living entity, Prakriti, nature, Kala, eternal time, and Karma, activity, are all explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Out of these five, the Lord, the living entities, material nature, and time are eternal. The manifestation of Prakriti may be temporary, but it is not false. Some philosophers say that the manifestation of material nature is false, but according to philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, or according to the philosophy of the Vaishnavas, this is not so. The manifestation of the world is not accepted as false. It is accepted as real but temporary. It is likened unto a cloud which moves across the sky, or the coming of the rainy season which nourishes grains. As soon as the rainy season is over and as soon as the cloud goes away, all the crops which were nourished by the rain dry up. Similarly, the material manifestation takes place at a certain interval, stays for a while, and then disappears. Such are the workings of Prakriti. But this cycle is working eternally. Therefore, Prakriti is eternal. It is not false. The Lord refers to this as my Prakriti. The material nature is the separated energy of the Supreme Lord. And similarly, the living entities are also the energy of the Supreme Lord, although they are not separated but eternally related. So, the Lord, the living entity, material nature, and time are all interrelated and are all eternal. However, the other item, karma, is not eternal. The effects of karma may be very old indeed. We are suffering or enjoying the results of our activities from time immemorial. But we can change the results of our karma or our activity, and this change depends on the perfection of our knowledge. We are engaged in our various activities. Undoubtedly, we do not know what sort of activities we should adopt to gain relief from the actions and reactions of all these activities, but this is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So, your voice is not audible.
Yeah, how this karma can change, Prabhupada is going to explain later. But in this paragraph, Prabhupada is explaining about Prakriti. Some may say karma is not eternal, I understand. But Prakriti is also not eternal because Prakriti keeps manifesting again and unmanifesting. Prabhupada has given an example. The clouds come, Tirumala hill you see, it looks lushy green. When the downpour of rains happens, it looks like, the whole Tirumala is wrapped by green sari. It looks like that. And when you see now April, May, you see, my God, it looks like everything is dried out. So how can you call it as eternal? So this is not eternal, but a change in the Prakriti is eternal. That's what is mentioned. Right? A change, it keeps on manifesting and unmanifesting. So it is considered as eternal. That's why it is considered. So the change is a constant thing of the material nature. So that's why it is constant. But the karma is not eternal in the sense that when our karmic reactions are completely some way or other, if the karmic reactions are all nullified, what will happen? The karma gets over and will attain mukti, or will go back to spiritual world. Sarupena vyavastitihi. So when we go back to spiritual world, that time the karma is not there. So at one point or the other, karma is not existing. So that's why only karma is not permanent. Other four are permanent. So this material world's manifestation also like this only. Like the Tirumala hill getting green or it is getting dried. So this is a material manifestation, means from the Lord's body, all the universes are going to be created for a playground for the living entities, For the Father is creating a playground for the living entities. Or again he inhales them back. Again he what do we call? He manifests them. So in this way, the manifestation and unmanifestation goes on eternally. That's why it is Prakriti is considered eternal. Okay, move ahead. The position of the Jeev Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is Supreme Consciousness, is that of the Supreme Consciousness. The Jivas, or the living entities, being part and parcel of Supreme Lord, are also conscious. Both the living entity and mental nature are explained as Prakriti, the energy of the Supreme Lord, but one of the two, Jiva, is conscious. The other, Prakriti, is not conscious. That is the difference. Therefore, the Jiva Prakriti is called a superior because the Jiva has consciousness which is similar to that of Lord's. The Lord's supreme consciousness, Lord sees supreme consciousness. However, one should not claim that the Jiva, the living entity, is also supremely conscious. The living being cannot be supremely conscious at any stage of his perfection. And the theory that he can be so is misleading theory. Conscious he may be, but he is not perfectly or supremely conscious. For example, and I know what is happening in the paragraph now, but can I know what is happening on the road? Per se, I know what is happening on the road. A car is going or something, I may say, but I cannot say in all the roads of the world, all the corners of the world, what is happening. In all the Jiva's hearts, what is happening. This cannot be known by Jiva. But whereas Lord, in all nooks and corners of this world or in the spiritual world, supremely conscious means this. He knows actually what is happening in the Amavasya dead night on a black stone and a black ant moving. What is happening in his heart, Lord knows. So that is the difference between Jiva and the Ishvara. Okay, this is clear now. So Lord is supremely conscious and we are minutely conscious. We are also conscious because we are part and parcel of him. That same kind of nature is there with us. But Prakriti, if you see, it is Jada. So the Jiva has consciousness, whereas the Prakriti doesn't have. So in this one connection, Prakriti and the Jiva both belong to one category of being predominated. Prakriti is also predominated, and the Jiva is also predominated. But Jiva has consciousness, Prakriti doesn't have. Whereas Lord is also having consciousness, we are also having consciousness. So Lord and Jiva both are conscious, but Lord is supremely conscious and we are minutely conscious. That's the difference. Okay, is that clear? Prabhupada's one paragraph have made it everything clear between the three. What are the distinctions? Okay, we have one more devotee. Oh, many more joined. Okay, Swami Prabhu, can you please read out this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Loknath Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you were telling about that temporary nature of Prakriti.
Yeah.
The manifestation may be temporary, but it is eternal because the changes, manifestation and unmanifestation goes on. So it is eternal only, Prakriti. But karma is also in same, na, Prabhuji. For the karma that we have performed, we get reaction, and the fresh karma is also being generated, na, Prabhuji. Maybe it's not of the one living entity, but so many living entities keep on creating fresh karma and suffering their reactions that they have committed before. In that way, also karma can be said as.
See, we are talking about one living entity's karma. See, for there are some living entities who become eternally, Nitya Siddha, Nitya Baddha we call. So for those of the living entity that belong to Nitya Siddha Lokas, that is spiritual worlds, for them there is no karma, no. See, karma belongs to a particular living entity. It is not a conception of, it is not a conglomerated conception, right? Karma belongs to, it's a personal karma, right? So for a personal living entity, the karma may be manifesting, doesn't manifest. Is it not? It is not a one living entity as a Prakriti. Prakriti is getting manifested, unmanifested. It's not that every living entity's karma also keeps on getting manifested and keeps on getting unmanifested. He goes to spiritual world, again he comes back to metal world. But that is not there. Tyaktva jeham punarjanma naiti mameti swarna. So for that living entity, karma doesn't exist. Is that clear?
Basically, we talk here about one individual being.
Yeah, one individual's karma is not eternal. Conglomerated karma we never consider actually.
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
Yes. Thank you.
So for some living entities, karma doesn't exist. So that's why we cannot consider that as permanent. Okay, Swami Bro, can you please read out?
The distinction between the Jiva and Ishvara will be explained in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is Kshetrajna, conscious as is the living being, but the living being is conscious of his particular body, whereas the Lord is conscious of all bodies because he lives in the heart of every living being. He is conscious of the psychic movements of the particular jivas. We should not forget this. It is also explained that the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is living in everyone's heart as Ishvara, as the controller, and that he is giving directions for the living entity to act as he desires. The living entity forgets what to do. First of all, he makes a determination to act in a certain way, and then he is entangled in the actions and the reactions of his own karma. After giving up one type of body, he enters another type of body, as as we take off and put on clothes. As the soul thus migrates, he suffers the actions and reactions of his past activity. These activity can be changed when the living being is in the mode of goodness, in sanity, and understands what sort of activities he should adopt. If he does so, then all the actions and reactions of his past activities can be changed. Consequently, karma is not eternal. Therefore, we stated that of the five items, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, time, and karma, four are eternal, whereas karma is not eternal.
Loknath Bro's question is answered by Srila Prabhupada. Is it not? Yeah. For the time being, karma is manifested, and when the living entity comes to the platform of mode of goodness, he knows the knowledge with which what are the results are going to come with this activity. Slowly, we can become completely unentangled by the karma. That's why karma is not eternal for the jiva. Okay? Very nice. Yeah. We read one more paragraph. The Supreme Conscious Ishvara is similar to the living entity in that way. Both the consciousness of the Lord and the living entity are transcendental. It is not consciousness is generated by the association of matter. This is a mistaken idea. The theory that consciousness develops under certain circumstances of mental combination is not accepted in Bhagavad Gita. Consciousness may be pervertedly reflected by covering the mental circumstances. Just as the light reflected through the colored glass may appear to be a certain color, but the consciousness of the Lord is not mentally affected. Lord Krishna says, Maya Adhyakshena Prakritihi. When he descends into mental universe, his consciousness is not mentally affected. If he were so affected, he wouldn't be unfit to speak on transcendental subject matters, as he does in the Bhagavad Gita. One cannot say anything about the transcendental world without being free from mentally contaminated consciousness. So the Lord is mentally contaminated, Lord is not mentally contaminated. Our consciousness at the present moment, however, is mentally contaminated. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that we have to purify the mentally contaminated consciousness. In pure consciousness, our actions will be dovetailed to the will of Ishvara, and that will make us happy. It is not that we have to cease all activities. Rather, our activities are to be purified, and purified activities are called bhakti. Activities in the bhakti appear to be like ordinary activities, but they are not contaminated. An ignorant person may see that a devotee is acting or working like an ordinary man, but as such, a person with a poor fund of knowledge does not know the activities of the devotee or of the Lord, are not contaminated by impure consciousness or matter. They are transcendental to the three modes of mental nature. We should know, however, that at this point our consciousness is contaminated. So Prabhupada is talking about contaminated consciousness of the jiva. Jiva is also spiritual spark, but he is not beyond the mental nature. That's the problem is. So because he's not beyond the modes of mental nature, modes are binding him all the time. Because modes are binding him, his activities are predominated by the modes. Actually, there is a verse that Paropi Manutenartham Tatkrutam Chabi Padyate. Bhagavatam, what it says, Jiva is Paropi. Paropi means is beyond this mental nature. Is not subjected to this particular mental nature at all, because this is consciousness. He is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. But what is the problem? Though he is a Paropi means who is superior of nature, that is spiritual in nature, still he gets carried away by the emotions. What happens? He thinks that I am controlling this mental nature. The mental nature, no. You can take a rod and bend it, right? You can take a rod and bend it. Then what happens? I could bend it the way I want, I could mold it. But with that consciousness, what he thinks, him being the controller of this matter, he becomes contaminated. He becomes a controller, enjoyer. Okay, I can control this and enjoy the way I want. I can manifest, a big building, and I'll not be affected by the cold, the sun, and all these things. So like this, keep on meddling with this matter. He thinks that he's a controller, he's an enjoyer. And what happens? Slowly, he gets controlled by the modes of matter. Though he's superior, still what happens? He thinks that he is the controller. He's the enjoyer. He's probably giving example, no? He thinks he's the controller. So that's what the problem. The problem is that contaminated consciousness. What is contaminated consciousness? I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor. This is the problem with the contaminated consciousness. So because of that, he will not be able to give the pure knowledge. He will not be able to manifest the pure knowledge. So pure knowledge is manifested by pure consciousness, that is Supreme Lord, who doesn't get affected by this metal modes at all. And one more important point Prabhupada is telling, and this consciousness is not a combination at a particular time, a particular variety of combination of material elements, so that a consciousness manifests. No, consciousness doesn't get manifested like that. Actually, the living entity has consciousness, it gets pervaded around. It gets pervaded. The more he becomes clear from the contamination of heart, the consciousness can be expanded. So consciousness is there with the living entity. At a particular time, what happens? Because he is associating with the modes of mental nature, the consciousness contracts. I would like to share a small thing what I was hearing from my superiors. It's very clear that a soul has an aura around the soul, which is called consciousness. Actually, it is pure consciousness. That is called chit feature of the Lord, jiva. Jiva, around Jiva, there is aura, A-U-R-A, aura. This aura is actually chit feature of this Jiva. And what happens, as soon as it comes to the metal world, it associates with the matter, then it becomes chitta. It becomes chitta. Actually, there is no mind, intelligence, ego kind of things in chitta is not there. Four things are not there. It's only one thing. The four are one thing only. So when it is likings and disliking, then it is manifested as mind. When decision making capacity comes, the chitta is only manifested as intelligence. The same identification matter comes, the same chitta acts as ego. We divide them according to the function only. So what is the chitta? Chitta is contaminated consciousness. Because of that, the aura has turned into contamination now. So what is our aim? Aim is to clarify the consciousness of the jiva. The chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. We say A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E gives association, books, chanting, diet, and engagement. All these things will allow the jiva to get out of the chitta, which is then bring it back to the original chit feature, that is knowledge. So knowledge kind of dismantles all the ignorance. When the dismantling of ignorance happens, our chit feature comes out. Chit, that is aura of the soul, full knowledge of oneself and Supreme Lord and the devotional service. Yes, Nikhil Prabhu unmuted. Question?
Yes, bro. So chitta is nothing but subtle body, and aura is also like subtle body only, bro.
No, aura is not subtle body. Aura is the chit feature of the jiva. Right now, it is contaminated by the metal modes. Now, that only appears as chitta. It's a one entity, chitta. Contaminated consciousness now.
Yes. So, like whenever we say soul is present, we will direct that soul is present in the heart of our body.
No, not in the heart.
In the metal body.
In the region of the metal heart. In the region,
of the heart. Yeah, bro. The region of the heart, soul is present. When we direct like subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego, as a telling chitta, will be taking the shapes as per our likings and dislikings. It will be manifested into the three things. Like there is any position, bro, in our body.
See, chitta is with the soul only.
Okay.
Because we are talking about mind, intelligence, ego, no? A subtle body is with soul only, right?
Soul only. Bro.
In the subtle body only soul remains, right?
Not
body. Like physically, but with the subtle body moves with the soul, right? So that's why when you say I when you say where we touch, we touch our heart, no?
Heart. Bro.
That's why the chitta only we are referring to actually. Chitta and ourselves, the soul we are referring to. I means.
Okay.
Getting the point? So around the soul only this chitta is there, which is contaminated consciousness. That's why we say
around the soul and
that's why we say we have to purify our hearts. We say we don't say we have to purify our brains, minds. Mind is also not here. Mind is with the subtle body.
Okay. Like if anyone asks, also we can tell that it is subtle body is in the position of the heart only.
Subtle body is actually the consciousness is pervaded all around. The soul is present in the heart, no, in the region of heart, but the consciousness is pervaded. The subtle body, mind can go anywhere, but it is connected. This connection we have to see. It is not physical.
Okay.
It's not physical. Mind is connected to the soul. Intelligence is connected to the soul. Ego is connected to soul. Where it is, it can be anywhere. Physically, we are not speaking about. Okay.
Yes, bro.
Their connection is much more subtle.
Okay. Yes, bro. Thank you, bro.
We'll continue tomorrow. We'll be starting from the next paragraph. That is when we are metally contaminated.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Yes, Prabhu.
So previously we were mentioning, like I didn't understand, like cleaning our heart means what exactly, bro? Like
why we are referring to heart? You are asking?
Yes, bro. What it means?
See, why we are referring to our heart? Actually, chitta is connected with the soul, na?
Yes, bro.
So we say when we say an opinion, let us say we say an opinion with our intelligence, right?
Yes, bro.
And when we say our opinion means it's my opinion. This we call it as. That's why we are identifying here. So opinion is coming from where? Either intelligence or the mind, no?
Yes, bro.
So that's why we refer here. And also, somebody is too much affected by contaminated consciousness. Actually, let us say is affected by lust. Oh, heart is paining. Say, na, my heart is so happy now. So that feelings and all these things, na, they are generated from the heart. Why they are generated? The soul is the region of the heart. Oh, my brain is feeling love. Huh? We don't say no. Heart
Yes,
feels
bro.
love. So heart needs to be clarified. Contamination needs to be removed from the heart. That's why we say.
Yes, bro. That
Chitta need to be
contamination is in
purified.
our. That contamination is in Chitta, na, bro.
Contamination in chitta only. Yes. That contaminated consciousness is only called chitta. It's a contaminated consciousness. That is chitta. It only manifests as a metal mind, metal intelligence, metal ego.
Yes, bro. But that as we say, like now we have discussed, consciousness is spread all over the body.
Consciousness is pervaded all over the body, right? If I touch your feet, also you'll feel conscious, right?
Yes, bro. Yes, bro. Then it doesn't like then not only heart, like everywhere this contaminated consciousness is spread, na, bro.
Yeah. All our senses are also impure. See, we can say we can say contaminated consciousness in the purified state, pure consciousness are pervaded everywhere. So consciousness is pervaded everywhere throughout the body. That's the point.
Yes, bro. Then how it comes like only cleaning heart?
When you clean, see, consciousness is connected to the soul, but it is pervaded throughout the body now. Okay.
Yes, bro.
So pervading is not a problem because now don't see them as see the consciousness as disconnected from the soul. So connection with the consciousness and soul, they are subtle. Okay, connection in this.
Yes, bro.
So they are subtle. We cannot understand how they are connected. Like sometimes I close my eyes. I can see with my mind, voice, temple hall, altar, there is a speaker, there is a cupboard, and all these things I can see. The mind has gone there, but mind is connected to my soul. My soul means myself. Correct, no? So
Yes, bro.
physical difference is not a problem because the connection is more subtle in terms of attachment.
Yes, bro.
Okay.
Thank
So
you, bro.
basically we need to purify our heart. So we have crossed a little bit time because discussion took time, but we have read 20 minutes. So we'll meet again tomorrow and we'll continue. Thank you very much for joining everyone. So today is a little late. We started because today and tomorrow we'll do that same thing. Like whenever holidays time come, we start at 11. At the other times we start at 9, 10. Okay. Thank you all very much. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Samyata Gauravakshani ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari.